Hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to analyze the 2025 Australian Open Women's Final. And a while back, I had an idea for a video, and the title was going to be, Who are the best players to never win a Grand Slam title? And I decided to scrap this video because something about it didn't sit right with me. It was kind of a negative video about professional players who I have the utmost respect for, the amount of dedication and commitment that goes into making it to that level is something most people can't fathom. But now I can reveal who I had as the best player on the WTA Tour to never win a Grand Slam title. And without a shadow of a doubt, it was Madison Keys, who I hold in such high regards. In my opinion, she could be in the mix to win every Grand Slam, even the French Open, and we'll get to that later. But she has the type of game that can be incredibly dangerous. She is one of the hardest hitters from the baseline that were ever seen in the history of the WTA. Her forehand speeds are equal to guys on the ATP Tour. She also has one of the best serves in WTA history. So in the past, it was Madison's mental game that let her down. For example, in 2017, she was the favorite to win the US Open title against Sloane Stephens. And I listened to a lot of the press conferences for Madison throughout this Australian Open, and she revealed a lot of very interesting details. So Madison said that in that match in the final in 2017 against Sloane, she was so consumed with trying to get rid of the nerves. And that process throughout that match, trying to shake off the nerves, didn't allow her to play at her top level. And Sloane is such a tough competitor, Madison had to play well to win that match. So Madison, since that match, has worked really hard on accepting the fact that she was going to feel the pressure. She was going to feel the nerves. This is something that's unavoidable, and it's just a matter of accessing her best game despite the nerves and not being so consumed with trying to shake the nerves off. Now, Madison had another golden opportunity in 2023 when Coco Gauff won the US Open. And in the semifinals, she faced Sabalenka, and she was dominating that match, winning the first set 6-0. But Madison said that she simply got tight in that match. She was afraid to miss the ball, and she started becoming very careful with her shots, and that ultimately cost her the match. In my opinion, Madison had a golden opportunity in last year's Wimbledon to win the tournament because the draw had opened up. We had the Krejcikova against Paolini final, and Madison was facing Paolini in the fourth round. And if she didn't get injured in that match, I think Madison could have won Wimbledon last year. Now, after Wimbledon, Madison didn't play her best tennis. She was losing a lot of matches. And then towards the end of the year, she started making some changes with the help of her husband/coach. And the first thing that they experimented with was equipment changes. So she used to play with a hybrid combination of natural gut and alu power. And Madison tried with the suggestion of Björn to play with a full bed of alu power. And just like Andre Agassi way back in the day in Rome, Madison said, I feel like I can't miss a ball. And Björn responded to that with, welcome to 2024. And look, there are still many players that play with a hybrid combination of gut and polyester. This is a topic for another day. But it is fact that when you play with a full bed of polyester, you gain a lot of control and you have the ability to swing freely. You can swing big without losing control. As you might know, I'm in the process of finding a new racket. This series will conclude after the Australian Open. I have no idea which racket I'm going to choose. This is very much still up in the air. And one of the rackets that's going to be featured in my final playtest is the Yonex Percept 100, one of the best rackets that I've ever tried. And one thing that I've noticed in recent years is the following. When players switch racket brands, which is not often the case. Most players will play with the same racket for many, many years. But when they do switch, I noticed that a lot of players are switching to Yonex, which is, in my opinion, the #1 racket company in the world based on the quality of the rackets that they make. So when you order a Yonex racket, you know the quality is going to be sky high. So in my opinion, 10, 15 years ago, a lot of players were shifting to Babolat. But now, when players switch, it is often to Yonex. And in Madison's case, she felt an immediate improvement in her game with the Yonex racket. It only took her about 10 minutes of hitting to know that this was the right racket for her. And she also said that as she got older, the old racket, which was either the Wilson Ultra Pro or the Wilson Blade Pro, and I talked to tennis nerd Jonas prior to this video to make sure, both of those rackets felt cumbersome for Madison. And it is something that I've observed. The players, as they age, they go to a racket that's more responsive. In other words, that gives them more free power. And that is certainly the case with Madison's new racket, which is most likely the Yonex E-Zone 100. Now, interestingly, Madison said that she felt a lot more control with the E-Zone 100. She felt more stability at the moment of contact. And this was very evident in the match against Sabalenka, which I'm going to get to in a second. But that's exactly what I felt when I tried the Yonex Percept. You can check that video out. And in this particular playtest, I was hitting shots that I had no business making. In other words, those were strokes that are usually mistakes. But this racket helped me out in those circumstances, and it is by far the most forgiving racket that I've ever played with. I can't tell you what it is exactly. Maybe it's the way the head is designed, but off-center shots with this particular racket were absolutely spectacular. And I'm not sponsored by Yonex, so we're going to put this racket out of the frame. And now let's get started with the match analysis. So Sabalenka was looking for her third Australian Open title. She won the Australian Open twice. She won the US Open. She was in the semifinals of Wimbledon and the French. She is the #1 player in the world. However, she didn't come out strong in this match. In the very first service game, she threw in 2 double faults. She proceeded to lose her serve 3 times in that first set, and Madison took it 6-3. Now in the second set, things flipped, and Sabalenka tightened up her game. She started using more variety. She was utilizing some drop shots. The serve started to click, and Sabalenka comfortably won the second set 6-2. And in the third set, we saw an absolute slugfest. Both players were serving well, holding serve all the way to 5-all. Sabalenka did get close in one of the Keys service games at 3-all, 30-all, but Madison hit an exceptional first serve out wide, hit a forehand winner down the line, and ended up holding that game to 30. But the most crucial game of the match, and possibly the most crucial game of Madison Keys' entire tennis career, came at 5-5 when she was serving. Sabalenka, at this stage of the match, was ready to take this match into her own hands and win another title. Sabalenka is a champion. She wasn't going to rely on Madison Keys' mistakes. She was going to take this match. And at 15-all, Madison missed her first serve. She served her second with kick in the center of the box. Sabalenka ran around that ball and blasted a forehand return, and now it was 15-30 on Madison's serve. And I thought Sabalenka is going to break here. She's going to hold serve and get her third Australian Open. But Madison Keys surprised me because at 15-30, she served an exceptional slice first serve down the tee for a service winner. Now at 30-all, there was a wild miss from Madison Keys on the first serve. She served it way long. But then the second serve, instead of going for her normal kick serve, and by the way, she has an excellent kick serve, she went hard on the second out wide. But Sabalenka was ready for it, and she absolutely blasted a forehand return towards the middle of the court. And the ball was traveling from that trajectory into Madison Keys' forehand. And Madison stayed low and redirected a forehand hard for a winner down the line. That shot right there was possibly the most important shot in Madison Keys' career. She then followed that up with the hard, flat first serve and then hit another forehand winner, this time inside out. When Sabalenka was serving down 5-6, Madison Keys played a fearless return game. She was going for her shots, often blasting forehand returns right down the center of the court, which is an excellent tactic, and she deservingly won her first Grand Slam title. I couldn't tell you how happy I am for Madison Keys, and I'm very much looking forward to the rest of the season. Madison Keys in 2018 reached the semifinals of the French Open. She has won the tournament in Charleston. She can play well on any surface, but the 2 tournaments that I'm looking forward to the most regarding Madison Keys, Wimbledon and the US Open. In my opinion, she has chances to win both of those tournaments if she plays like this. And if you take a look at who she beat to win the Australian Open, she had to go through Collins, Rybakina, Svitolina, Swiatek, and Sabalenka. She has beaten the best players in the world to get this Grand Slam. With this title, Madison is going to equal her career high of number 7 in the world. And I'm going to make the call that Madison Keys has the chance to finish 2025 ranked number 1 in the world. Let's see if that happens. Sometimes players after winning a Grand Slam can go on a slump. So this is for sure something that's possible. But as I said before, Madison Keys can be dangerous at any of the remaining slams in the 2025 season. So let's see what happens.